let's have a look. So the flashback, when the flashback begins, it's going to show Carol and the other barrels, who are these folks here. The best characters ever. It's going to show them on a cart. And we haven't planned the scene yet. We haven't done any scene work or tile set work yet. But once we've got a good dialogue thing, we'll start with that. So, right, so it's been suggested that the scene starts with Carol talking to Oliver, and I like this, so I think we're going to go ahead with this one. We'll get some dialogue written, and I believe Zexy wrote some more ideas in the dialogue channel, so we're going to have a peek at those as well today. I noticed them when I woke up. Okay, so let's have a peep in the Discord so we can see those. I'm going to copy all this, Sexy. I'm going to put it in a notepad file. Okay, I was thinking that Carol's myth should be something kind of sweet or otherwise benign. The stars are crystal windows that allow the gods to look down at Earth. Okay, I'm going to get these ideas put in our little box. The sky is a large tent over the earth, and the stars are tiny holes in that tent. Oh, that's sweet. That's very innocent. These are the actual beliefs of... Oh, it's an actual thing. Oh, that's interesting. So these theories are actually not from Zex's own creative mind. They're actually real ones. Woody equals number one husband now. Yeah? Is he your fave, Chub? You think he's a handsome fella, don't you? We're gonna definitely show Woody off in this flashback. We're gonna show them all off and make them all interesting. That's for sure. Surely Plum is the number one husband now. As in Plum the fruit. That's the only Plum I know in our game. Okay, then Meryl's response should be something a little scarier. Oh, Meryl, what have you been watching? The stars as the children are the children of the sun and moon because the sun loves to eat his children. Oh my god. The stars disappear whenever he rises above the horizon. However, the moon, their mother, often dances happily across the sky with the stars. Oh, somebody believe that? That's very dark. That would scare Oliver. For the adults, Meryl's comment would lead to an argument about the oil drum, but for Oliver, who is a child being told that other children get eaten by their parents, is spooky indeed. I think we should show a scared Oliver at that point. Hank can help put him to ease by telling me an actual story of what the stars are. No, it's the way I have Meryl's story written doesn't sound very natural, in my opinion. I do think it would need to be rewritten to sound more human. And of course, Meryl needs a lead in before she starts telling the story. Okay, shall we attempt this then? If we can get this dialogue bit sorted out, that would be freaking awesome. So, right, let's think. Right, so did we say that Hank would have this one? I swear I read you say that, Lexi. The one about the old kings. Maybe that, yeah, that's more Hank. Why is it making it small? Okay, so I hope I've typed it all in okay. And obviously if there's anything grammar wise or how it's worded, if we want to make it sound like you say more human, then we can attempt to do that as well, of course, today as we do this. And now the Merrills. So I'm going to keep the notes here because the rest of what you've said in my notepad file, because I think I want to refer to them to just remind me. Also, just make it a bit wider. Right, so Merrill. Oh yeah, so we need to get some space now for the actual dialogue boxes and trees we're going to be doing. What I think we'll do is just for now move this lower. And obviously once we've done it, we can delete these red boxes and move that up. But we need these there so we can refer to them. Okay, so the scene starts with Carol talking to Oliver. Right, so let's begin that. Oliver's going to be the first one to speak. I like that. I think the cute one should talk first. What if we gosh, it really pastes them high up, doesn't it? Want them down here. There we go. No, we need to go lower. Is there a paste into place option? Maybe I should try using that next time, if there is. If we do that, then people who might not know who the characters are that well or know who we're referring to, then we just put the that there. Okay. I think giving Hunt the Old King's option shows the player that he pays attention to what humans talk about, and it lets him give a political message about how the current government is corrupt by elite's moustache. Oh my goodness. I'm going to copy and paste that as well. I'm copy and pasting everything you're saying, or anything that is generally very insightful that's said in chat, because it eventually goes up really high and I lose what you say. So it's nice to be able to reread. That's it is, isn't it? I'm just thinking, how should we do this? Because I'm thinking we should actually make this a thing. So we know who's talking. Okay, but yeah, the actual pixel is cute as well, I think, too. Okay, next bit then. Carol. Right, so here we go. We get straight into her explanation now. And we're going to know that she's called Carol now as well. Because before she's always been called a Barrel, because she hadn't introduced herself, and it never felt natural for Carol to just say, hi, my name's Carol, or because she's so hostile, it didn't feel right to have her introduce who she is at this point higher up in the earlier conversation. So I thought maybe the flashback would be the perfect opportunity to reveal the names. But the only thing is, and I'm wondering what you guys think here, is it better to not have them know their names until somebody calls them their names, if we really want to go for that sort of realistic thing? Because we could also have them nameless, but then have their name label once somebody said, "Oi, Carol," or something. It doesn't really matter. It depends what we prefer, like what sort of direction we want to go, what we feel will be better. Okay, so they're called stars. Because I know some RPGs or games in general, they're literally just name our characters what their name is when we haven't been introduced to them. Apparently we're just meant to know their name. But I kind of like the approach of not knowing their name until we're either introduced or somebody calls them by their name. Because it just feels more realistic that way. Maybe others disagree. Okay, where's Carol's thingy? Oh no, I need to stop doing that because it's going to take forever to drag it down. Let's see if there's a paste in place option. There better be. Yeah, paste here. Oh, no, that wasn't it. There. Paste here. Ah, no, I want Carol. Copy. Paste. It's being silly. Paste. That's weird. Copy. It must not that's weird because it did. If I do Control and V, it does it then. But it just puts it all up here, miles away. I have to zoom out and do it like this. But once we've got all 6 characters in, we're fine then anyway. Wow, she's a big one. She's filling up all the box. Okay, so I'm just putting this there just so people all know who's talking if you're not really sure of who the characters are. And obviously in the game that we'll be using their avatars, these, when they talk. So they're called stars, and then she talks about the stars giving the wrong explanation for them. And these were the 2 we thought about for Carol, wasn't it? Well, what Zexy thought about. And what's so cool about these is the real, people actually believe them in parts of the world. So we might need to just adjust the dialogue slightly so it fits with something that we believe Carol would say, or make it sound more human or natural. Well, she's not human, she's a barrel, but still. I do like the idea of their names not showing up until they're said, or we could just not show Carol's name until someone says her name, but the others are told since it's a flashback being communicated to the hero. Yes. Well, in the game, if you've seen the story so far, VTO, that shows exactly what the dialogue boxes look like in game, and there isn't a name tag when we don't know a character's name. So Carol's dialogue doesn't have anything except her avatar and her dialogue. But once we know somebody's name, like we knew Nigel Buckington's and Fiona Buckington's, they have their name above the dialogue, a little name tag. So we could go that route with this, that we don't have anything there for these guys name-wise until we're introduced to them, or until somebody says Oliver or Carol. Because it's a little bit more realistic, and Zexy seems to agree there. And hi Juice, how are you doing? Hello there, Wednesday Adams. Yeah, I've got a Wednesday Adams dress on today, and I've got the pigtails as well. It was not a coincidence, I did it on purpose. Hi Ghosty, thank you so much for the host. How are you doing today, Ghosty? Hope you're having a wonderful day. Okay, and also he says, or we could just not show Carol's name. So yeah, but the others are told since the flashbacks. What do you mean by the others are told? I'm a bit confused. Don't worry, it's not a big deal though. But I just sometimes I don't always get things straight away. But I got the first bit. What dialogue is this? We are doing the flashback scene with these guys. These assets that we were working on last week, they're all Carol's buddies. And they're going to be a big part of the story, the main quest line. And we're getting to know them in a flashback now. Because we had a dialogue sequence with Carol, Rose and the hero. This is what I was working on yesterday. And it's all now leading to a flashback. So if you do want to have a closer look, I have put a link up of what's here, and I do believe it will update in real time. So feel free to have a peep if you want to have a closer look. We do have some of the other dialogue sequences we've been doing as well. They're all episode 1 scenes. I've put a little list here of what the scenes are. Some of them we haven't added yet though, but some of them we have. Okay, so let's have a look at these Carol explanations. The stars are crystal windows that would allow the gods to look down at the earth, or the sky is a large tent over the earth and the stars are tiny holes in that tent. Okay, I guess it's just choosing which one we like the most. I feel like I'm going to do a big massive burp again. Okay. Link gave me an error, did it? Oh no, guys, I thought it worked. What's happened? Why is it being a silly? What's happened? Does it still work for the rest of you, or is it just, I'm wondering if it's expired or something, or broke. Maybe it broke because we've edited it. Oh no. If it's done that, that's really dumb. If it's broke the link because we've just made an edit. I can't think why else it would have done that. It's very dumb. Yeah, which is a shame if we can't get it actually working, because I thought it'd be cool for you guys to be able to just click on the link and watch us write the dialogue and see us updating it in real time. I mean, obviously you can see it here on the screen anyway, on stream. But sometimes you might want to read what we don't have on the screen. What are you sharing, like a doc or a folder? This exact link, this exact big document here with all these dialogue little flows on them. So that's basically what it is we're sharing. And it did work earlier because a few people tested it. But if it's broke now, my theory would be it's because we've added some edits. Maybe that's why. Okay, so the skylights look so pretty. What are they? Okay, that would not be Oliver's voice, by the way. He'd sound way cuter than that. I can't do a cute voice. I wish I could though. Right, they're called stars, so I'm wondering which one we like the most. What do you guys like the most out of these explanations? I'm drawn to the one that's the most sweet and innocent, because I would imagine that Carol would want to say something cute and adorable to Oliver for what these stars are, which to me is the second one. This one, not the one above it, because that's what Han could say. I'm on about the two that Carol would say. I think that's quite adorable. The gods one's interesting, but maybe the gods one's more of something Hank would say. Actually, it's similar to that one. Okay, so that link, you have to go to the top and open with the Draw app. Oh, okay, so you have to activate that app. Oh, right, how do I do that? Is the share button, is that what it sounds very, very confusing, I have to say, with all this sharing business. But anyone who goes here, oh right, so it's not, so that it actually does work, the link. Right guys, I'm going to just click on that myself and have just a quick look so I know what it is you guys have to click on, and then I can guide you. Oh right, so that's it. So Juice and anybody else that clicks the link, if you click open withdraw.io diagrams, does it work then? I'm hoping so. Okay, so let's reread what Zexy says. So the flashback is from Carol's point of view, and she already knows the names of the Barrel family, and because she's the one communicating the flashback well enough for the hero to actually see things like the car, the sky, the forest, Oliver, etc., it could be assumed that as part of their description she mentioned all their names. So we could have the name tags for everyone except Carol, and Carol's name tag doesn't show up until someone mentioned her name. Just an idea, it would be a stylistic choice. I like that a lot, actually. It makes perfect sense because it is from Carol's point of view. If it was the heroes, it would be different. He wouldn't know any of their names yet. But having Carol be the only one we don't know makes sense. So for now, I'm actually going to call her Barrel like before, just for consistency. And when we'll purposely have somebody call her Carol, and from that point on, we'll know her as Carol. So yeah, good ideas actually. Jesus took that link 5 minutes to load. Okay, I can see it now. Yay! I'm so glad it's working after all then. It is a little bit confusing that you have to open it in the app. I wish it was easier, but it seems that that's the only way, and it should, hopefully it does update in real time for you guys, so hopefully now we've changed this bit you can see that too. And I apologise that it looks super messy at the moment. So we've got these red boxes here just to guide us with the scene. These are just notes that we've made to give us ideas for how to take the scene. So obviously if you have any at all, I will totally add them in a red box here. But once we've got the dialogue, we'll delete them and move this up, and we'll organise it in a tidy way like we have with the others. Okay, so right, so they're called stars. The sky is a large tent over the earth, and the stars are tiny holes in that tent. What if we literally just use that as dialogue? What do you guys think? Does that flow okay? What's everybody's opinions? Because it's definitely great to have a dialogue that sounds natural and like something that somebody would say. And maybe, is it a bit wooden, do you think, as it is currently? I know Zexy thought that the Meryl one was, but we can totally work on that. I think the Oliver dialogue is fine. It sounds pretty normal. Right, so... and now the next bit. Meryl chimes in with, well, Oil Drum's name says they're actually, which is another outlandish explanation of what they are. Okay, so that's the next bit. And we said... Meryl's comment would lead to an argument about the oil drum, which is all this particular bit here. Because the oil drum is Meryl's boyfriend, by the way, for those that don't know. Okay. But for Oliver as a child, being told that the other children get eaten by a pansy spooky. So we're going to have to connect all this, and we're going to have to combine Meryl's explanation, Oliver's fear, Elvira's hatred to the the oil drum, Hank chiming in saying what the stars really mean, and Woody's bit of dialogue as well about him tooting his own horn and putting the oil drum down to egg Elvira on. So there's a lot of dialogues we've got to make flow here, so this will be a challenge. But we can do it, team. No, the thing is that I was having an error, like when you share a link from a website that doesn't exist. I'm using Chrome now. It uses Google Drive, so maybe it doesn't work on other browsers than Chrome. Oh, okay. Well, at least it's okay. At least it's okay now. Okay, so Meryl's the next one. Okay, so Meryl needs a lead in before she starts telling the story as well. So Meryl's personality, let's look at her. I'd say she's a flirty barrel, so that could also mean she's loud. And maybe she just interrupts rudely. Maybe that's her style. So she could like literally just interrupt Carol at this point and be like, no, that's not true, or something to that degree. Maybe we could even have it so that we put that sort of M dash, you know, to show that Carol's getting interrupted by Meryl, to just really show off Meryl's rudeness at this point as well. It would be a way to make her, yeah, we could go with something like that maybe. I want a proper M dash though. That's not an M dash, that's just 2 dashes, but it doesn't do it. Have we got one above? Because we can just copy it if we have. I think we have. I swear that we've got one here. Here we are. We got one here. So I'm going to just copy and paste that. But hang on. The sky is large, tent over the earth, and the stars are tiny holes in. Yeah, I guess we just have to think of a good interruption point in here. Something that maybe would be intriguing. Well, I don't know. That would make people wonder what she was about to say. We could go with that route. I mean, we don't have to do that where Meryl just interrupts. We could let Carol finish, but that's just one idea I've got for her to naturally get involved in the conversation. Quick question, is the oil drum also alive, or is it an oil drum and Meryl is just crazy? That's a very good question actually, Zexy, because we have to think here how it all ties in. Let's just quickly go back to our timeline and plot and think of how we can potentially tie in the oil drum here. So Carol and the companions all came to life in the Everbloom Forest, and this also included trees and fruits, which this orange box expands on here. And it was basically everything that was in the Everbloom Forest when this spell was cast that got affected, because it was in the radius. So if the oil drum is alive, that would mean it would have had to have been there as one of the containers too, or maybe it wasn't one of the containers, it was just off elsewhere and it happened to get caught in the radius. So if we're going to go with that route, we need a reason for why the oil drum's not with them now. I assume it's because it's an oil drum and people, maybe they didn't want to maybe there was no reason to transport the oil drum on this cart because it's an oil drum. It's gross. But barrels and cardboard boxes and cookie jars, I suppose there was a reason. There's a reason, and they just left the oil drum behind because it's all slick and oily. So that could be one reason to explain why the oil drum's currently not with them on the car. It just got left behind, but it's alive because it happened to be with them. But I personally think we should have the oil drum be alive. I think it would be another interesting character for Meryl. I mean, I know that Zexy, you were a fan of Meryl's plot. He says it would be the greatest romance of all time, I believe you said. So if we're going to go with that, we need to make sure he's a living creature. Otherwise, Meryl would be pretty deluded. So, Carol, come on, don't tell Ollie that. It's not what Oil Drum told me, he said. But like with a Valley Girl accent. Okay, let's get that dialogue written in as well. As if, hi Met, how are you doing? No one would have expected an Oil Drum to be good for storing water anyway. Yeah, and that might be it. Maybe he wasn't one of the containers that this antagonist gathered for his little project. Maybe the Oil Drum was just some random container that was just lying about, hidden away, and it just got caught in the radius of the spell. Just like the trees and the fruits, you know, and that would be the most simple explanation, probably. What do you guys think? Well, it could be alive, but not have been specifically made to collect raindrops, like you says. If it could have been the radius of the spell, I was just curious if anyone wanted to go for the Merrill's crazy route. Well, it all depends on what we feel is the best way to take the plot, and with the nature of this game, we can go any direction. It's whatever is overall the most popular and liked, you know, and I like the idea of having an Oil Drum character that we meet later on. The fact that we haven't met him yet, but he's referred to in this flashback, will make the moment we do meet him funny and amusing, hopefully. So that I like the idea of that, but yeah, I'm intrigued to know if anybody does like the Merrill's crazy route. Then I'm intrigued to know plot ideas if you do like it, just because it's always interesting to consider these things. Plot twist: Oil Drum cast the spell. The Oil Drum's the spell caster. Now that would be crazy. I do wonder if the barrels remember things from before they were alive. Would they tend to project personalities on the other objects around them from back then? Yeah, it's all a very interesting concept overall, and it's like, knowing you would question yourself and your identity a bit, wouldn't you, if you knew that you weren't really born biologically. I think it's an interesting philosophical thing to potentially explore with this group of characters. Carol specifically, being as she's the main one. Very similar to Vivian, Final Fantasy IX. You know, his story, if anyone played that game, was very much about that, and it's quite interesting. Just like throwing out ideas, even if I wouldn't vote for them, helps get creative juices flowing. It doesn't always stick, can always be recycled later. Yeah, and you can, sometimes there's always a way to combine these ideas as well. Like, you know, you never know. Who knows where this story will lead? Will these containers be sentient forever? Maybe they'll expire one day and they'll become objects again. How heartbreaking would that be? For like somebody like Meryl, who's fallen in love with the Oil Drum, and then all of a sudden the Oil Drum's not alive anymore, and she's like, what's happened to him? And then she realises herself that she's going to lose her sentience one day. I mean, that is just one thing. Who knows, maybe one day they could turn into humans. That's another direction to take it. You know, that there's lots of conclusions for this story. Who knows? I said that word again, who knows? Even if he's real, he could take long enough to show up that Meryl starts to doubt if he really existed at first. Yeah, like, we can combine these things, for sure. By the way, Rose, I have to tell you, this is like the best podcast ever. Is it, Juice? That's lovely. That's an awesome thing to hear. I'm just listening and having fun, LOL. Yay, I'm glad you're having fun. Glad you're having fun, Juice. Thank you for the kind words. Hi, Storm, how are you doing today? It's good to see you. How's it going? Okay, so we were talking about Meryl's dialogue, weren't we, guys? And yeah, I like that idea of calling her Carol at this point, actually. That's quite smart, because then we can forever call her Carol. We'll know that that's her name. in a Valley Girl accent. Okay, so that's the start of Meryl's dialogue. I like that she calls him Ollie rather than Oliver as well. I think that's fitted. That would be a fitting move for her personality. Now one thing we need to do is figure out what we're going to call this oil drum guy. If we have a few ideas, we can totally put up a poll. It all depends on if we get a lot of suggestions for his name. If we only end up having one, then we might go for that one. But right, let's just copy and paste this, because I'm quite intrigued what kind of names an oil drum would have. One of our community members suggested that, well, they pictured the oil drum looking like James Dean on a motorcycle. That was kind of what they imagined for this oil drum character. So name ideas for the oil I'll say bad boy. Yeah, bad boys are very important. Bad boy names. Good. What are some good bad boy names, peeps? Bad boy. I'm going to put it in capitals. And obviously they're not the names. They're Rose's names for slang words for vampire. Okay. I need you to do a big shrug so I can make a who knows gif. I cannot do it. I cannot do body language. And hi squirrels, how are you doing today? Oh my goodness me. I'm embarrassed, Chubb. Actually, I think it could be interesting to have Meryl and the oil drum seek out a way to get turned into humans so they can raise a family together as a midlife game, because that sounds so good. I mean, we can have both. Like, I think having both, like, oh gosh, I'm getting so excited. I'm bashing all my desk to bits. But we could have both. Like, we could have one of these containers' character arcs be about turning into humans so they can live life like normal people. And Meryl and the oil drum would be pretty appropriate for that. We could also have somebody who questions their existence in the world and gets all depressed about it. Maybe Carol. And we can have someone that loses their sentience and breaks everybody's hearts because they're not alive anymore. That would be freaking tragic, in my opinion. But the turning into human story would be super heartwarming. And I actually, looking at these assets now, they would totally be easy to turn into humans because they're very distinctive facial features. And they're all made with the RPG Maker generator, mostly. So, you know, that if you saw Meryl's face on a random human character, you'd know it was Meryl. If you saw Woody's face on a random human character, you'd know it was Woody from that smile, let's face it. So, same with them all, they've got very, very distinctive features. So that's totally a doable plot for sure. Okay, now let's catch up with chat. You like Oliver Squirrels, he's adorbs, isn't he? Had to put that there. Just had to. Or we got to put Meryl's there, actually. What am I thinking? So, paste here. Why is it doing that all the time? It makes us have to go all the way up here instead. And I'm lazy, so. There we go. Done. James Dean is heckin' handsome though. Yeah, don't you think Woody's more James Dean? What would the difference be with the oil drum and Woody in terms of physical appearance, would you say, folks? Because I feel like they can't be too similar, because Meryl doesn't look at Woody like that. But yet she looks at the oil drum like that. But maybe the reason she doesn't look at Woody in that way is because Woody's a cardboard box and she's not attracted to cardboard boxes. She's attracted to greasy oil drums. Meryl, sort it out. Oil drum cardboard box rivalry. At one point they get into a game of chicken. Oh my god, guys, I need to copy and post all these ideas, because we've been talking about barrel plot stories and I love it. There's some really great arcs here and I'm looking forward. Okay, Johnny, slick as Maisie. Oh yeah, Johnny's a good bad boy name. Right, give me all your bad boy names, everybody. We're going to get a list of them together, and we'll get, if we do have a lot, then we will get a poll up. We'll get a poll up so you can vote for your favourite, and then we can give them an official name, because we haven't had a poll in a while, so I think it'd be fun to get a poll up. I mean, we still need to figure out some names for these as well, but we can wait a bit. There's no rush with this one. It's always a lot harder with slang words to make them sound well. Crunch is fine, but I don't want to confirm anything yet. I kind of want to wait to see which one will end up being the best one. Rose, calm down, please don't die. Let's bash desks. Hi, Observish Object, how you doing today? How about Ryder, Maddox, Ace, Axel, Jax? These are good ones, Van. Let's get them all down. These are bad boy names, aren't they? Ace is such a bad boy. Which these are like the perfect bad boy names. I'm impressed. Okay, Oliver turns into a cat because his face is... Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, okay, so if all these guys do turn into humans eventually, what would Oliver be? Can you imagine that face on a human? That would be ridiculous. But yeah, he would be an animal. He definitely would look more like a cat than a human. It's just ridiculous imagining that face on a human face, but you never know with our game. But that's a very good idea, Mac. I guess the story's going to already have sentient cats, actually. Well, that's the question. What if he became a cat, he couldn't speak again? He just meowed forever. Poor Oliver. He'd make the perfect kitty pet, though. Sunglasses, beard, stubble. Oh, good ideas. I'm going to note these down, by the way. So, because we're not creating the oil drums asset yet, but one day we will. So we'll need to have ideas. So, I'm going to just put how would oil drum look, sunglasses, beard, stubble, and that's a good starting point at least. Chad. Ryder is so good. But we're getting the names. We've got 6 so far. I think we could have a couple more if anybody wants a couple of other suggestions, but then we'll put a stop to the ideas then, because we don't want to have too many on the poll. How many did we have on the poll for the cookie jar? Let me remind myself. We had 10 for Carol's son. We can have a few more. We'll see how it goes, guys, but we won't have more than 10. I don't think we can have more than 10 on these votes. But the names we've got are pretty good. If the player romances Carol, it would be interesting to explore the idea of should Carol try to become human. It could be a powerful message, her exploring her feelings and sense of self and deciding she's happy with who she is and that she shouldn't have to change who she is for a man. That's really cool too. And I'm copying and pasting that because I like that. Right, so be interesting, even if for jokes we do a quest where they're turning to humans, you know, just for amusement, but then they turn back into barrels again. It would be interesting too if it was just a temporary thing. But who knows, maybe Meryl would forever be a human if she decided she wanted to be a human with the oil drum. But Carol takes the other route and he's like, actually, I'd rather be a barrel than a human. Being a human was boring. People should love me for me. Okay. Hey, do you want some cookies or what? Oh my, that is a super adorable emote, Juice. It's got a face like this little guy. I think that the oil drum is probably more rugged. Maybe is the leather jacket sort of guy. He's probably more fun to be around because he's a whole lot of trouble. Maybe Meryl thinks she can change Mr. Oldrum, but he's not ready to commit to that sort of change. That's a really good character view, I think, of the oil drum van. And I think that's a good way to sum it up as well, that he's more rugged. He's more fun to be around in his trouble. I mean, I think Wood is more fun, to be honest, because I'm not one for trouble, but some people like the trouble, don't they? Some like the bad boys. Whereas, so me, I don't like bad boys, but you know, Meryl does. Meryl, what are you doing? And thank you for that follow, Zenris. Welcome to the stream. Like a classic greaser. So thanks for all your insightful ideas, chat. I am making note of them all because, you know, it's going to be a time when we were like, let's make the oil drum guy now, and I'm going to want to open that notepad file and remind myself what was said. Maybe Oldrum is also the type of guy that will dive in first to protect Meryl, and she misinterprets that as love when it's just a strong drive to be a rebel hero. Yeah, that's pretty cool too. That's perfect. And maybe we can have a scene showing that as well at some point. I feel like Meryl and Oil Drum's relationship will be, you know, we can make that part of this story. It doesn't have to just be a minor thing. I think they should be big characters. I like them. I like these guys a lot. The classic greaser. Chub cheeks days. I think Slick should be on the list purely because it's a good pun. Slick the oil drum. Slick. Danny DeVito. Oh, yeah, Danny Zoko and Danny DeVito. That means we have to put Danny there as a name, guys. You know? If we've got two characters called Danny that he's inspired by, then... Temporary joke quest, kind of like when Roach talks for a quest in Witcher. You know, Chub, that's like one of my favourite Witcher quests ever. It was so good. It warmed my little heart. That's the guy from Greece, right? Thank you, can remember his name. Yes, the one and only. Hi, Gretch Star, how you doing today? It's so good to see you. Hope you're on a wonderful day. I feel like Slick should be the last one, simply because it's the one that's not actually a real name. So we've got 8. We can totally stick with 8 as our name, unless anybody's got any more suggestions. I won't not add them. 10 is our limit for name suggestions, and we've got 8 so far. So we'll get that poll up, guys. We'll get it up soon, I say. And then we'll carry on with this dialogue. And then after Meryl says that, that is when. Are we going to have Elvira talk then? It's going to be Elvira, but hang on a minute. We're going to have... We got to also have Meryl finish off her sentence, because she's going to explain what according to the oil drum stars are. It's going to be super scary. That it's going to scare Oliver. So we also are going to have to show Oliver kind of being scared. Any ideas how we can show Oliver's fear? What would a cute, adorable cookie jar say if he's scared? I suppose he could just say ... and he could just have a scared facial expression. But, you know, I'm definitely up for ideas there too. But we also going to have Elvira's dialogue as well. I feel like having Oliver's reaction to that could come before Elvira's, but we'll have to get that in first. We'll have to get it in. The stars and the children of the sun and moon, because the sun loves to eat his children. The stars disappear when he rises above the horizons. However, the moon and their mother often dance happily across the sky with the sky. Okay, so we'll just have to think how to make that a bit more concise and flow as good as possible. We will just move that here so it's out of the way, so we can make Meryl's dialogue a bit longer. We'll just break it up a bit, because it looks like Meryl's gonna have a longer sentence, but Carol had a longer sentence up here, so we broke that up. But we'll show Meryl with different facial expressions to just break things up a bit, so it's not just all one big line of text. But we can always make this word this a little bit differently if we want. We can make it a touch shorter as well. Hi, oh yeah, I've already said hi to Gretch Star. Hope you're having a good day, Gretch. His lid could come down and cover his eyes. Oh, mysterious. I mean, we could go with that, or he could wear sunglasses, because that is definitely a look that could really round off the crew perfectly. But it's nice to have options, so I'll add that one as well. Sure. Oh, you mean with Oliver, don't you? I've just realised now. I completely forgot I asked what Oliver would look like. I've clicked now. Mama, is that? I mean, when Oliver's scared. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so we'll think that. I guess it depends if I can do that with the asset, because I will have to create some expression assets for them. I'm going to have to do Hank with that when he doesn't have a hole as well, and Woody when he's not wet. But we'll probably do those as we make the scenes. I'd say get the dialogue done first. Mama, is that's not true, is it? Daddy wouldn't hurt his kids, would he? Aww, I like that idea, Chub. He could rattle around a bit as if he was on a shaky table. Oh yeah, his actual sprite on the map as well would probably have some sort of animation of some kind. Right, so I'm going to copy Oliver's dialogue box. Okay, so let's get this explanation done first, and we'll get Oliver and Elvira's dialogue put in after that. Okay. I'm going to copy what Zexy said for Oliver's dialogue, though, so I don't have to scroll back in chat too far. So I'm just going to copy and paste this, and we'll edit it as we feel needs to be edited. And also, guys, I'm going to put this in chat again if you want to have a look. As we do it, feel free to. If you want to look at our other notes and other dialogues, feel free to have a peep. You will have to open it in the Draw.io app though. And we'll get this poll up as well. We'll definitely get the poll up soon because we want to get votes on that name. In fact, let's do that now. I feel like it'll be a good idea to get the poll up. And I think you know, it'll be cool to see what name tops it because they're all pretty good names. So how do we do our polls? Let's do it. We'll set it up the same as we set up this one. So what should we name Meryl's boyfriend, the bad boy oil drum? That's what we'll call the poll. Okay, so we don't have a reference picture of him yet, but we talked about him enough. We know he's a bad boy and he's an old drum, and I think we only need that information. It's all good. Also, I don't think we have to put Paul, and we have to put it in speech marks, and then we got to get the names up. So we've got Johnny Ryder and Maddox. Ace Axel. Chad, Danny, and Slick. I think those were it, wasn't it? Johnny Ryder, Maddox, Ace Axel, Chad, Danny, Slick. Yeah, that's all 8 of them. Yeah. We'll delete that. There we go, guys. We've got a poll in the Discord. You can vote for the name you like the most. Oh, we like that back. You can now vote for the name you like the most out of all the ones we've got. They're all pretty good, so feel free to vote for your fave. And we'll keep this poll open until tomorrow's stream. We'll close it immediately after the starting Zoom screen, like we've been doing. So for now, we'll still keep the gap for whatever his name's going to be, and then we'll fill it in tomorrow. Thank you for the vote so far, guys. So if you're not in the Discord yet, then of course you'll have to join if you want to vote on our polls. I'll be having a peek at that throughout the stream. I like coming up with poll options, but I never like voting. Yeah, that's interesting, Chub. Is it because you like a lot of them? Is that why you don't know what to vote for or don't like voting? Okay. That is very aggressive how I've put that. Poll is up in Discord. But just so people know, I don't like being part of locking something in that people might dislike. Oh well, no worries. Like if you're not sure, then it's all optional at the end of the day. So there's no pressure here. But we're going to keep it open for a while because we want as many people to have a vote as we can. And we don't always get loads of votes immediately. I always feel like 24 hours is a fair amount of time to keep a poll up. Okay, so now let's get Meryl's line. We can get the arrows put in as well, actually. Okay. Okay. He said the stars are the children of the sun and the moon, because the sun loves to eat his children. The stars disappear. Okay, so let's make this sentence a bit shorter, maybe. I think the first bit is fine. Because the sun loves to his children, the stars disappear whenever he rises above the ocean. However, the moon, their mother, often dances. Okay, one sec. Let's just separate this for a sec so we can read it separately. Right. Let me get my brain into gear for a sec. Okay, so I'm thinking this bit about the mother here should come first, actually, before we talk about the son eating the children, because I actually think ending the tale with the scary bit will have more impact, and then it'll connect well with Oliver's fear in the next dialogue box. So we could say something like, the moon So I've put that exactly how it was says. If we need to make adjustments to that, we will. Obviously, we need to make sure it makes sense. But I think ending it with the son loving to eat his children could be like, oh shit, sort of thing. Hang on a sec, I've got a bit of camera problem. So there we go, I think it's all right now. That's a good point, Rose. Yeah, the son eating the kids should be last. Yeah. Okay, so is there anything at all that's not making sense so far? Hang on. Get rid of the because. Right, so we can switch this around. We can talk about the moon, their mother, often dances happily across the sky with the stars, but they disappear whenever the sun, their father, rises above the horizon. And then we can end it with something like he loves to eat his children, but how we need to is that the best we can do it? Any suggestions at all for how to make that even more of a fascinating tale and a very scary end? I'm still not 100% sure about the ending. I'm sure there's a way we can make this flow better. Hang on, let's think. They disappear whenever the sun, their father, rises above the horizon. We can simply have because he loves to eat his children, but I'm not sure if that would be as impactful as we would want it to be. But I'm just being a perfectionist here. Disappear should be flee or frantically scamper away or something like that, yeah. I think flee's a good word. It's short and sweet, but they flee. The moon, their mother, often dances happily across the sky with the stars, but they flee. But they flee whenever the sun, their father, rises above the ocean. We could even have it as, we could even do it as, at this point, Oliver's like, ooh, why did they run away? Or something, and in a really innocent way. And then at that point, Meryl's like, because he loves to eat his children. I think that could be that build up and that mystery of why do they fly would be a good way to do it, rather than say it all in one go. What do you think? We could do that for sure. And then it shows Oliver, like, with the suggestions you guys said about maybe hiding. We'll have some sort of expression on Oliver's face that's all scared and adorable, though, for sure. Yeah, that's good pace, and yeah, having Oliver's, yeah, it breaks it up a bit, doesn't it? So yeah, we should probably do that. Let me just catch up with chat first then. Maybe their father, the sun, is a gluttonous monster, ever hungering for more to consume. Yeah, we could even put that, and it wouldn't be too revealing, because we haven't exactly spelled out that he eats his children, you know, but it would make the story a bit more interesting rather than just have their father right there. Turn to the club, they flee whenever the sun, their father, rises above the ocean. Or we could have what Zexy said as what Carol says next after Oliver asks the question as well, if we want to say that rather than that, because it's a bit more, you know, fancy and storytelling like. Throw in a bit of Corona style motivation and say he eats anything that might threaten to replace him as the main son. Okay, so this is why some nights have less stars. Oh, maybe. And having Oliver chime in and asking questions is a really good day. Okay, guys, so what are your thoughts based on what everybody said? What would be the perfect response to Oliver's question from Meryl? Because we got some ideas. We could either go for the simple, he loves to eat his children because he loves to eat children. We could go for something a bit more fancy and descriptive, like what Zexy's suggested about him being a gluttonous monster. Or we could mix the two, or we could also go for what Met suggested as well. Okay, so just delete that now. So he could be like, I think maybe using more simplistic wording for Oliver, like run away rather than flee, sounds a bit more innocent and sweet. So that was my thought, but if anybody's got any improvement for the wording, then of course feel free to suggest. And Elvira, we're going to put her a bit further up because we got to get Meryl's next bit of dialogue. I like the idea of asking, but why do they run from their daddy? And Meryl says because he hungers for their flesh or something. Yeah, that's good. I think saying daddy's really cute as well. So why would the stars run away from their daddy? That's so cute, sweet. Bless his little cotton socks. Well, he doesn't have feet, but bless him. He's my favourite already. Who agrees that Oliver's a Dorbs? Also, guys, poll, don't forget. Not expecting loads of votes straight away, by the way. I'm expecting it to take a bit of time to build up. Okay, so, and then Meryl, because he hungers for their flesh, or so we could, let's see what's going to sound best. Let's just get up a red box here, because we want to make this pretty impactful. In RPG Maker, you can actually make the text italics, and I think that's quite a nice, impactful way of emphasising words. I actually prefer that to caps. I think it just looks a bit better, in my opinion. Although caps can be an approach for making words stand out, I think italics can too. Right, so what was the other ideas? Would who sound better there? So if we want to expand on it more, we could always add what was said there. And what else? Do we have any more ideas? Hi Truebaldy, how you doing? So good to see you. Look at those raindrops. You having a good day, Truebaldy? Slobs is being weird at the moment, isn't it? Letting me scroll back, but we'll get it. I mean, I did Met's idea about expanding a bit more on it was pretty intriguing, but I'm also inclined to want to end the story after Meryl said this, simply because it's the perfect time for Elvira to go, oh, you're still not with that oil drum, are you? Like, we don't want to let it go on for too long, because it will be a bit weird if Elvira talks about the oil drum when the moment's passed, do you know? So maybe I think at this point it'd be cool to get Elvira to chime in about the oil drum. If you don't use character emphasis, you can save them for characters who you're used to speaking in Latin. Yeah, I'm sure there'll always be a use to use them and somewhere else as well. It's always, caps have their uses. Okay, so which one do you guys like most? I actually like the expanded one, calling him a gluttonous monster. It's okay. I have a wonderful day. How about you? I'm doing good, Truebald. We're having lots of fun writing some dialogue, aren't we, today, folks? And if anybody wants to have a peep, you can totally have a look at what we've been doing if you'd like to, everybody. If you're using the word flesh, but do stars have flesh, maybe light would be. That's actually a good point you've raised, Van. Because stars don't have flesh. That is something that's so easily missed, but makes perfect sense. I'm going to have to go downstairs for a snack in a sec, because I'm a peckish one, but let's get Meryl's box done first. So, because he hungers for their light. That could work. What do you guys think? If we replace it, let's see how it looks. My tummy did a rumble. yeah, I'm curious if there's any other appropriate words, but light works. Could be something Elvira brings up to dismiss Meryl's version. We could, but I also think she should talk about the... Elvira's more oil drum. She's like, you're still with that? So have we got here in our notes? Elvira can say something snide about the oil drum, and so yeah, we don't. The main worry would be that we don't. It's been a while since the oil drum's name got mentioned, so we don't want the moment to have passed, really. So hungers for their light. We'll keep. I think having it like that will work. So okay. Right. So. And then before Elvira does talk, we do have to have Oliver's reaction as well. Scared face. But we are going to go back to this, though, after the oil drum's been mentioned, because we also have that Hank breaks up the quarrel, scoots over and explains what the stars actually are. So the conversation about the stars is going to continue, but he's going to talk about the real reason, what it really is. So we are going to kind of go that route where we have the real explanation mentioned. So no worries. Okay, so because we still have to introduce Hank and Woody. How's our poll getting on? Some people like that one, but still more votes needed. Okay. Oh, hi there. Hi, Brief Insanity. How are you doing today? It's good to see you. Welcome back. How have you been? Stars are distant shonen protagonists powering up over several episodes. Imagine that. Now come back to bite their daddy's butt in revenge. Okay, so oh no. I'll care about tidying it up and making it look good after. We'll get the dialogue in first. Right, so Elvira's now. Let's read how it's gotten so far. So the Beryl and her companions are on a car on the road at night time. Mama, the skylights look so pretty. What are they? They're called stars. The sky is a large tent over the earth, and the stars are tiny holes in that. There we go. Carol, come on, don't tell Ollie that. That's not what Oil Drum told me. He said the stars are the children of the sun and moon. The moon, their mother, often dances happily across the sky with the stars, but they flee whenever the sun, their father, rises above the horizon. Why would the stars run away from her daddy? Because he's a glutton who hungers for their light. So what's everybody's thoughts with that little scenario? Pigeon salesman, hi. Welcome. How you doing? Right, so Elvira. Right, so have we covered everything in these boxes? Sort of, Nene. We're on this bit now. Glacian, how are you doing? It's so wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for the 7 months. I appreciate that. How are you doing, Glacian? I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. How are things going? We are doing some dialogue today. We have started the flashback sequence and we have a poll. We are deciding what we are going to call Meryl's oil drum bad boy boyfriend. So we've only just put that poll up recently, so we're going to want them votes in. I like it so far. I think it does a good job of introducing Carol as a caring mother, and Meryl is taking any chance to turn the conversation to the oil drum. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it wouldn't hurt for her to mention him again before the hijacking, just to further show her obsession. For sure. I'm doing really good, although I have this pain in my neck. Oh no. Neck pain is silly. I hope it gets better. Is it from the moving that's caused that? Okay, so Elvira. Let's just get Elvira's asset now. I've tried the paste in place option, but it's not successful, so I have to do it this way. Pile up in Discord. Just woke up, so I think I slept weird. I hope it gets better soon. Get well soon, Glaceon. Those barrels are lucky they can't get neck pain. Yeah, because they don't have necks. Lucky them. Okay, so Elvira. Now we got to think of the perfect introduction to Elvira. We've introduced Carol. Carol's not said anything since. Does everybody think that that's a good move for Carol to not respond before Elvira talks? I just think we need Elvira to refer to the oil drum as soon as possible now. That's my opinion anyway. So Elvira can say something snide about the oil drum. I never liked him. When are you going to break up with that royal rusty bucket? Okay, so we need to say oil drum, obviously. Or we can just say his name. I never liked, and then whatever we call him. Or we can call him an oil drum, because people aren't going to actually know he's an oil drum. I've just realised. Because she'll have said, don't tell Ollie that. That's not what whatever name Wynn's told me. But we don't know yet that this person is an oil drum. So either we're going to have Elvira say it or Woody, because Woody's kind of going to get involved in the conversation too. But Elvira will probably speak first. Elvira could always say this instead of Woody. Actually, we could make Woody say something else that's cheeky. But are we going to call him by his name? Because if we just say, are you still seeing that oil drum, people will be like, what's that about? Because that conversation was a few dialogue boxes ago, so people might not. People will get confused. We need to call him by his name, I think. You can jump into it. So I'm thinking... Let's have a think. So are you still seeing that oil drum? I never liked that name here. When are you going to break up that rusty bucket? So I'm going to put something in. Let me know what you think, folks. Should she say Meryl? Just so we know who she's talking to. Are you still seeing that oil drum, Meryl? I never liked that. And then we put... when you're going to break up that rusty bucket. Thoughts? So whatever name wins will fill in the gaps then. If we don't say he's an Oldrum, he can catch someone by surprise later. That is actually a really interesting approach. I like that. What do you guys think? Because we can get rid of... What we can do then now is put... Are you still seeing that name here? And maybe that will be enough, because I never liked that oil drum is kind of redundant, because we can tell she doesn't like him just from this dialogue. You know, she's called him a rusty bucket, so that says it all. So this alone might be fine. So are you still seeing that name here, Meryl? When are you going to break up that rusty bucket? And yet will we kind of mislead them if we call him a rusty bucket, though? We'll start thinking he's a rusty bucket instead. And I know that's just Alvira being very, you know, because she hates him, so she's going to belittle him by calling him a rusty bucket. But what do you guys think? Is that the best possible name? Do we need another name that doesn't indicate what he is as an object, more as an insult? Alvira calls him an Oldrum and Meryl immediately cuts off with his name is, and then Alvira continues. Yeah, we could still say rusty bucket, and then Meryl goes, his name is. Yeah, we could still do that. But I did like Met's suggestion about us not knowing as well. So I'm unsure about rusty bucket, so I'm going to put... Rust is fine, or a word or an adjective to that sort of similar meaning, or greasy. Because is he rusty? He's going to be more greasy, isn't he? That grease. When are you going to break up with that greasy insult here? And then Meryl would be like, his name is... Or she could say, you still seeing that, and have another insult there and not use his name. Yeah, that's... this is the dilemma. I would either clarify or have Rose walk up to an actual rusty bucket thinking he's Meryl's boyfriend, but he's actually behind him. So you actually think it could be interesting if we think he's a rusty bucket but realise he's an oil drum? What do you reckon? I like rusty or greasy. It kind of sounds like it's being used as a slur, which is very fitting for the character. Yeah, I think Alvira is sassy as hell, and she'd be using slurs left, right and centre. So we could always have, instead of her using... I don't think Alvira's going to be polite calling him by his real name the more I think about it. And because we're going to follow up with Meryl going, his name is... being all like upset and protective of him, it makes more sense to not say the name here as well. So instead of the name, we can have an insult. So we got, are you still seeing that blur, Meryl? When are you going to break up with that greasy blur? I guess it's just thinking what word we're going to use now for the insult. And we can always go with the rusty bucket or greasy bucket route. We will mislead the player though, and they will think that that this guy is a bucket probably, and there's nothing wrong with doing that, but we just want to make sure it's definitely the right direction to go. We could also just keep it mysterious and not reveal, not even have the insult be an object name. We could have it be more of a vague insult. That could be a direction to go as well. Being confused about who he is seems a bit mutually exclusive, being uncertain if he's real. That greasy oil drum at the end would fit pretty well though. Yeah, so we could always say he's an oil drum, and that even though it was an idea to not reveal, I still think it'll be a surprise when we meet him, because he's going to look so slick, and if we're going to give him sunglasses and all that, he's going to be pretty over the top and surprising anyway. So there's still going to be an element of surprise to meeting his character, even if we know in advance he's an oil drum. So I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. And plus, I think if we do say he is an oil drum, it's making us get a picture of Meryl in our heads as well, about the kind of guy she goes for. And when we see Woody, the cardboard box, and the contrast, because, you know, I think actually thinking about it, it's probably good if we say he's an oil drum. So, are you still seeing that insult, Meryl? When are you going to break up with that greasy oil drum? Okay, so, yeah, I think another insult somewhere would be cool as well. And then Meryl. Okay, so we don't have to have, we could have Woody chime in at this point now. I'm not sure what Elvira would say next. And we need to introduce Woody and Hank as soon as we can. So yeah, Woody could say something now and be super cheeky on the subject of the oil drum, like using his charm, thinking he's better than the oil drum somehow. We need to get into a cheeky, womanizing point of view for Woody's dialogue for sure. And then after Woody's had his say, maybe that's when we can have Hank break up the quarrel and scoot over and explain what the stars actually are. Because and then we'll have some heartwarming Hank dialogue. And we'll have, if we can, have a bit more dialogue happening before the hijacking. And just so we can get to know the characters as much as we can before the hijacking happens. From a narrative writer standpoint, unless there's a reason you want to surprise the player, you should clarify as an oil drum. By clarifying in this flashback, you let the player know what's up, but you still have other characters later mistake Elvira's future comments as being literal. A future character mistakes the boyfriend as being a grease bucket, and because the player knows that's wrong, it creates humour. Yeah, it could have been an approach that worked. But thinking about it more, and the fact of who Meryl is, and if we want to, you know, make it clear that she's of her type of man, and it would probably be better to, you know, picture in our heads this greasy oil drum guy rather than a greasy bucket, because a greasy bucket is so different to a greasy oil drum, and we kind of not see Meryl as this woman that we've talked about who goes for the dangerous type. We'd see her as somebody that likes a sweet little bucket. Like, you know, so it could just change our perspective of Meryl a bit to what we don't want it to be. And I don't necessarily think it's the surprise is too necessary. The surprise of the oil drum and what his face is going to look like is going to be a shock in itself, I think. And we're gonna get Woody in, guys. Let's get Woody in. So but we can totally have some more Elvira dialogue as well in a bit. There's the option to her to brag about being an antique barrel as well. That's a potential topic of conversation. Other than that, we're not sure what other conversations that we can have yet, but it'll be interesting to have a think about that, because I don't want to end the conversation yet. I don't want the hijacking to happen quite yet. So let's copy Woody. Welcome to the Discord. So guys, don't forget our poll. We're going to keep it open a while though, so at least till tomorrow, the very start of tomorrow's stream. Could she brag about her gogo being valuable and fancy when it's something humans would actually know is very cheap? Yeah, we something that's quite humorous would be good. So we'll think about that dialogue for sure once we've introduced Hank and Woody. I think maybe we should have Elvira somehow speak up about her antiqueness, as long as it flows okay and connects well with the conversation happening before it. So Woody, now this is the challenging bit, because getting into someone like this is point of view. What dialogue ideas did we have for him? We just put he does sing that old drum, puts old drum down and toots his own horn to impress Meryl. Okay, so let's have a little think about what this could be. And we did have a little bit of a chat about Woody having a crush on Carol, but he will flirt with Meryl too, because he's a bit of a, he's one of those. And he just he wants to egg Elvira on. He finds this kind of conversation amusing. He's loving it. Any opportunity to see some other guy get torn to shreds is great for him. Okay, so I'm going to go on a BRB for a sec, guys. I'm going to get myself a snack, and I'll be back soon. So feel free to have a chat about Woody and the conversation on the cart in general if you'd like to, and I'll read it when I get back. Take care, guys, and don't forget about the poll. Put the link in again. See you in a bit. Hello, I am back. Howdy. Okay, Woody. That guy could never think that Woody obviously can't do. Okay, so what could Woody not do? Well, he's cardboard. He's a box. That's going to be pretty straightforward, quite quick. That is a bit inferior to the others. He's not going to be wet, by the way, just as a reminder again that he'll be a dry box when we first meet him. He's not going to be wet until he actually gets the raindrops put in him in at the time when that happens. And he'll forever be soggy from that point. Poor Woody. I feel like Woody has a friend in me. You like Woody, guys? Yeah. Chub Cheek said he thinks he's handsome. But he's not your typical, like, catch. That's for sure. According to Meryl, oil drums are. But, yeah, okay, so it's definitely a challenging one with Woody, so I'm thinking of just putting in brackets for now. It's a Toy Story reference. Oh, is it? Yeah, I know now. Didn't click up first. Gotten too many cardboard cuts. Woody can't swim. He isn't able to float like a barrel. Oh, that's true. That's a good point. But Woody would drown, wouldn't he? Would he drown if they were in the ocean? Imagine if that's how he meets his end. Poor Woody. Okay. Do oil drums float? I'm wondering now. What about an oil drum? When we compare Woody to the bad boy oil drum, what's the difference between them both? Hang on, how did we word this in the box? Yeah. That's an idea we could approach. Obviously, if anyone's got any other womanizing humorous dialogue for Woody, feel free to say. It's something I'm not the best at, but maybe I'll get better over time. Okay, so Woody is also easily injured because cardboard is not as sturdy as a wood barrel. Yeah, Woody died in Act 2, confirmed. Oil drums, if full of oil, would sink, but if they were empty, would they float? From a website, so crude oil naturally floats on water regardless of its volume. Now, a barrel full of oil should float on water depending on what the container is made of. The total weight of the crude in the barrel should be less than the weight of the water equivalent volume. If that's the case, then the barrel will float. Hecking wrong with what I just said. Swimming is interesting since an oil drum probably wouldn't swim well either. He'd only float if he was able to keep air in. So the fact is, even if it's true that oil drums can float, there's definitely a question mark above it. You know, you guys had to research to find out for sure, whereas it's pretty straightforward that barrels float. And as for Woody, he'd sink, wouldn't he? I've never put a cardboard box in water, so I don't even know. But barrels definitely float. But yeah, we got it. So I'll just put that for now for Woody, because we'll see what you guys suggest. If anyone has any good ideas, then feel free to say that. What else? Yeah, maybe an insult for Elvira. So we've got a few little bits to fill in, but we can just carry on with the dialogue conversation and expand it more. The next thing that's going to happen is that Hank's going to break up the quarrel to explain the real reason behind the story to Oliver. So it's going to just be a good way to make that flow, I guess. Also, let's... So on a 55-gallon drum, each 55-gallon barrel will float approximately. That's when the barrel is 99% submerged. So Mr. Oil Drum can carry a lot and still float. He's a strong dude. Woody is a good-looking wimp. Yeah. I think people are like loving Woody. They think he's handsome. It's crazy. He's a good-looking wimp. Hank's the best. We haven't said hi to Hank yet. So we could always pull that guy could never swim like me. Or I feel like we could... Maybe there could be some really good ones we'd have. Let's get a red box. Maybe potentially list them. Float feels a bit weird if we put that guy could never float like me. It needs to make sense. I'm sure we can get some decent ones, but we'll keep that there, and over time we can see if we can think of any, and whatever's the best we'll go for. Now, will Meryl respond now, or will Hank interrupt the quarrel? That's the question. Because if Woody says something very obnoxious and wants to impress Meryl, chances are she'll respond, because that's the kind of person she is. She gets very worked up. I guess she's a little bit hot-headed. A little bit, I guess. She's loud. She's loud. And maybe she could make it clear how she's really not interested in Woody, just to further emphasize Woody's undesirability. Something like that, maybe. And then maybe Hank, at this point, says now. I think like he can say something really calming to disrupt the quarrel and then continue talking about the stars. I like the idea of Hank just ignoring the quarrel. He sees that Oliver scoots over and talks to him. The argument is still going on. We just don't focus on it, or have Carol break the argument to show she's sort of the de facto leader. Yeah, like if we look at this crew, who's going to be the one who's most likely going to break up an argument? I'd say Meryl, Elvira and Woody would be the argumentative ones that get involved in the majority of the quarrels. Carol's hostile, but I think with her own family, she has the soft side more. You know, she's hostile with the humans more. And I suppose seeing this side of Carol in the flashback as well would be more surprising to the player, because that's not something they've seen of her yet. And because Carol's not spoke much in this flashback yet, so it wouldn't hurt to ever say something either. But I think, yeah, showing Hank's sort of fatherly, grandfatherly, soft, kind side is important as well. And we need to have some more Oliver conversation too. So, so we could have a Carol dialogue just to remind the audience Carol's still there. And then have Hank go over to Oliver. Because Carol has not spoken at all since, like, she's only said the one dialogue line so far. I feel like counting up the dialogue lines they've all done, just so we can get an equal balance maybe. So Carol spoke once. It's 3 times for Oliver, isn't it? 1, 2, 3. Yep. For Meryl, 1, 2, 3, 4. But this one's an extra long one. 1, 2, 3. Actually, we're going to count that as 3. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6 for Meryl, because that will be broken down into 3 dialogue boxes. Elvira, 1. And then Hank's is coming up, so yeah, Meryl's really been the focus so far. So maybe at this point Meryl steps back a bit from conversation so we can get some attention on the other folks. Hi Rose, how's everyone else tonight? Hi Naz, how are you doing today? It's awesome to see you. I hope you're having a really good day. How are things? Also, we got a poll. So if you're interested in having a say on who what name you'd think Meryl's a bad boy or elder boyfriend to be, feel free to vote in the Discord. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, of course, I would like to make peeps know, even those that are lurking as well. We're getting the votes, but we're keeping it open until the start of tomorrow's stream because it's only fair, just in case peeps haven't been around and haven't had a chance to hang out today. Okay, so we got Hank coming up, so let's get Hank's dialogue box. And then they would have all like officially spoken then, but it'd be nice to just, Elvira needs to talk more, so does Woody and so does Hank and Carol of course, but I definitely feel Meryl's had a good, but it doesn't mean we don't have to have Meryl speak again, nothing wrong with that. She's the loud one of the group, so chances are because of her personality being probably more pushy, she's gonna naturally talk more than some of the others anyway, whereas someone like Oliver is generally more quiet, and Hank's probably more quiet too. But Woody is quite pushy as well, I'd say, and Elvira as well. So let's get Hank's avatar. Thing is, we're using his sad broken avatar at the moment, but he won't be this when we meet him. Not right at the start anyway. He's gonna quickly get a hole in him and be sad once the hijacking happens. That's when he's gonna get this hole. Poor Hank. And the hijacking is going to be happening very soon. Once we feel that we've introduced the characters, that's when the hijacking will happen. We just want to get as much amusement out of this conversation as possible, really. And make the most of it. It's really important, this conversation is. So I'm going to be a bit of a perfectionist about it. Okay, so right, one sec, I just want to try something. I'm going to open Photoshop. No, not Photoshop, graphic scale. But feel free to still chat about conversation. If you've got any ideas at all, guys, while I just do this little thing. I still like him having his worried eyebrows because he looks like the concerned, doting grandpa. So it still adds to his character to have that. But at least he's not like disabled or depressed at that point. So, and then we've also got to do Woody when he's not wet. Hi Extra Drops, what's your game about? Welcome to the stream and thank you Zexy for those commands. I super appreciate you. Feel free to have a peek at those links, Extra Drops. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Poor Hank. I think the amount of text each character gets isn't as important as the emotional weight. The impact on the player is what the goal should be, and sometimes one character needs more dialogue than another to make the same level of impact. Yeah, that's a very fair point. So I'm definitely not going to be like, oh, they all need 8 dialogue boxes each. I'm not going to be that precise, of course. It's kind of nice to know who spoke the most, just so we can refer to it and think who we need to work on a bit. But due to personality as well, who's louder and more pushy, it generally makes more sense for them to talk more. And it's true as well about emotional weight. Sometimes you can get attached to the character from very little dialogue, for sure. So he's not wet, so we'll get rid of that water, and he will just be a dry box in this particular scene. Okay, and obviously their avatars as well, which we can do after because it's going to take a bit longer to open them up and do them. Not too long, but we're only putting their sprites in the dialogue boxes for to identify who they are. So Hank then. I think I'm going to copy and paste him. I'm going to have to get Photoshop open now. They could mention Rose being there at some point. We kind of updated the sequence of events in the timeline. Haven't talked about it much, so a lot of people might have missed it, but Rose is not on the cart now. Rose will get involved in the fight with the hijackers. That's when she'll make her appearance. She's going to jump out and attack them, and we'll see a bit of badassery from Rose in that. At that point, we'll assume that she's been wandering the lands. She just happens to be there nearby when the hijacking takes place, and she gets involved because she's got no problem about killing bad humans and having their blood. And they capture her because she's not successful. They overpower her, so they take Rose prisoner. The hijackers, though, they take Rose with them along with the rest of the barrels, and Carol's left behind. So Carol knows from that point that Rose knows where they are because she was with them. I feel like we felt that this was the most simple way to handle things. And it also just, Rose being on the cart had a few question marks, and it just felt like, this works quite well, doesn't it? I think so. I forgot we're going to hide them or not. She smelled the blood like a shark. Yeah, I think this approach works well. It's more simple, and it allows the barrels to just talk between them, and we get to just appreciate them as characters for a while. Rose being on there would take the focus off them a bit, so it's nice to see them have some family quality time and talk amongst themselves. So, okay. Thank you, Des, for the follow. Welcome. I hope you're having a good day. I can smell dinner. Okay, so I'm just doing Hank's new asset where he's not disabled because we need it. Otherwise we could mislead people if they see a broken Hank when he's not broken at this point. I don't think we've got the shadow on them though, so I'm going to delete the shadow for now, but probably have it back when we're actually in the game. Let me just double check. Yeah, we don't have it. Oh no. Right, I'm gonna have to print screen it. That must have been how I did it actually, because we got a small, it's too small. It's going to be heartbreaking when Hank breaks. Well, what's the proper term? Is it breaks? Okay, Hank the barrel 2. Now he should be the right size. There we go. So now he's not broken and we can put him there. Bless him. Okay guys, so let's hide graphics scale. We don't need that anymore. And here we are, we're back to our dialogue. Welcome, Des. And also guys, let me remind you about the poll again that we've got today. What we're doing is, for anybody who's just popped in or any lurkers, we're voting on a name, our favourite name for a bad boy character. And the poll is up in the Discord. Okay, I do think after Hank gives his story about what stars are, we should give the hero a choice to interrupt Carol, skipping to Rose showing up, or letting her continue, giving more bantering Barrel family. That's interesting way to approach it. Right, so there's a couple of questions. I guess it all depends on what we've got coming up. Because I am intrigued about what sort of conversation might happen after, or anything we could explore potentially. There's talk about Alvira, about her being an antique barrel, so that's one. I'm sure there'll be others. Well, we can have a think about it. I'll have a think about it off stream tonight as well. And also my other question is how could we do that? Like, would we have to go back to the Everbloom Forest? Or would that be too jarring? Could the hero just interrupt within the flashback in a choice dialogue box? And we've still got the cart scene there when the choices come up. We could do that, and all we'd have to do is just make sure we've made it clear that they're not within the scene, I guess. Trying to think of games now that have done flashbacks that have been interrupted. I think Final Fantasy VII's flashback, when Cloud talks about his past in that inn, is a time when the party interrupted his flashback. I could look at that and see how they went about it. But it's an interesting idea. for the impatient players that are like, yeah, I can't be bothered with this. Not that anybody like that would be playing our game, because we all like stories here. Hey, Play It Forward, how you doing? Clear barrel. Okay, so we're gonna add a box actually for that, because I think it's an interesting approach. So I'm gonna put that's a good pun, Play It Forward. I was thinking the hero would get the option in the flashback, something like interrupt Carol, demanding she get to the point, or continue listening to Carol attentively. Oh, that's great. We can make it more clear now then. I'll zoom in a bit so you can all see better. And also I'll put the poll back up again just so peeps know I want to get as many votes as possible. I like the way you word things, XD. Okay, so I'm going to just put it in a blue box for now. I know that we can properly style it and stuff into this kind of, we'll give it a proper box with the choice thing. Oh no, this is what we do, isn't it? We just put hero. We can do that as well actually. And would it give us compassion points and romance points as well? That's something to consider. In fact, I'm going to go straight to that now, so I think it will work better like that rather than in the blue box. But yeah, I agree, making it happen in the flashback is the best way, because it's not going to be too jarring. I think if we go back to the Everbloom Forest just for that, it would be a bit weird and it would interrupt the scene. But yeah, it would work great within the flashback. Right, let me just remind myself how I show actions in choices. I think it's asterisk. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, I don't know if you noticed the difference, but I changed this bit. I've actually considered maybe the hero should pull out his weapon, and that would kind of show bravery and more aggression. And then it would link better into Carol's response, where she's like, oh, because he'll have his weapon out, he'll have the bow if he's a hunter, and he'll have the axe if he's a warrior. I'm sure that'll be easy enough to do. We just get a sprite on the map, whatever your class is, really. Not hard at all. So that was just something I edited, but I'm sure you noticed that when you had a peek through that dialogue yesterday when I posted it in the dialogue channel. So that wouldn't give plus compassion. It's more likely this. and I can't spell. It helps people get through stuff they already know if they're on a second playthrough, and it means we do need to worry about the flashback being too long because we have built a way for players to skip it if it's too much. Yeah, so we can always like really lengthen the conversation if we want to really flesh these characters out a bit more. And it's true. And because this flashback sequence doesn't involve choices like other cutscenes do, people are going to get more impatient, aren't they, with it? Because it's literally just, there's no player actions or anything in this one. So I have these as the choices, and at the moment I've got them as... Should we swap them round so it's... What do you reckon? Interrupt first and that one second. But I felt like compassion was probably the most appropriate thing. But do you think that's mean? If we lose compassion from interrupting, would that annoy players if say they're on their second playthrough and they just want to get through it quickly but they lose compassion for it? I'm wondering, because yeah, it's impatience. I feel like if we want to be realistic by interrupting Carol, you are kind of not being very attentive to her, are you? You know, it should kind of... Right, let's read. I don't think it should give any points because it's meant to be anti-frustration feature. At least you shouldn't lose any points for skipping. Even if, like... Yeah, I see what you mean. Maybe I'm taking it a bit far and taking it as a bit too much of a thing. So, yes. But thing is, I have a question. If we do go for if someone does click interrupt Carol, it's literally going to just skip the scene. There's going to be nothing else that's said, is there? So, it'll just skip the conversation and go straight to the hijacking. Or are we going to have some actual dialogue? That's what I'm wondering about from Carol, where she's like, oh, fine then. Because, yeah, that's what I mean. If Carol gets annoyed and is like, fine, then I won't, then we'll get rid of the compassion pods. I guess it's just whatever direction it can go. It's just one of those interesting features that you can actually make as part of the story, or it's literally just there for feature. What if there's no prompt interrupter, but pushing any input will make the hero interject, and if they do it 2 or 3 times, we'll just skip it. I don't know. I'm not actually sure what that is, if RPG Maker does that. I'm just the sort of person that never skips things, so I don't know how these things work. So, in referring to what Play It Forward has said. And I'm not actually sure, actually. Bow versus axe, you mean I'm going to be a hunter then? If you like the bow, then yes. Okay, I'm sorry, but I have to go. Hope you have a great day. Maybe continue listening. Has plus compassion, skipping is neutral. Yeah, that's also a thing as well, because then we don't necessarily... then we're not actually punishing them for skipping. I'm just... one of these people are like, yeah, punish those impatient people, because I always love reading stories again, even on a second playthrough, but I suppose there's always people that don't. And I shouldn't judge them or want to punish them. I'm a meanie, but... Hi, new to stream, what does compassion do? Hi, Zarius, welcome to the stream. It's good to meet you, and take care, Glycy, and have a lovely day. Thanks for hanging out. What does compassion do? We basically are planning on having a morality system in the game where your hero is shaped from actions or dialogue options that you go within the game, and we've got compassion, bravery, and wisdom, and everything you do will affect those to some degree. So your hero will be your own hero, that you've made them that way from how you've played the game, basically. So compassion. If you're understanding and fair, then you'll probably gain compassion points. Have to go, gotta get ready for work. Have a good stream. Take care, play it forward. Have a lovely day. And thanks for hanging out and being awesome. And thank you for the follow as well. Appreciate that. We've got a poll, guys, so feel free to vote if you like to. Before we end the stream, just want to remind you guys that we got that poll. So if you skip the hero, say something like, what does any of this have to do with Rose? And Carol skips ahead to when hijacking. If you don't skip, there's no dialogue from the hero, and Carol just continues the story from the point. Yeah, this is the interesting bit now, because our hero never speaks. He's silent hero. The only time he does speak is through choices, so we got to stay consistent with that design, and think how we do that as dialogue if we interrupted Carol. Or we could just have it here. Instead of having interrupt Carol as an actual action, we can have it as speech, like we've done with our other choices, maybe. That feels like it makes the most sense. So yeah, and then I assume Carol would say something as well. Is that what was? Or maybe we shouldn't. I'm imagining Carol, being as sassy as she is, would have something to say about that and be like, "Oh, fine then," and then the skipping happens. If we want to be in character, but I guess I don't know. What does any of this have? Tell me more about the barrels. So the player is choosing if he wants more lore or wants to get to the point. That's good, because I was thinking with this second one, I didn't like it being asterisks anymore if we were going for speech with that one, just so for more consistency. So I agree. Should we call them the barrels though, because they're not actually just barrels? How have we referred to them before? Tell me more about your companions. That's probably, yeah, because that's kind of what we call them. Yeah, what do you guys think of that? And then, yeah, we just carry on it then, and it just goes straight to the hijacking if we go for that one. Good idea. I like it. Oh, fine. Sounds good. Oh yeah, because Met mentioned family, it just made me realise something. We haven't established how they're related to each other yet. We know Oliver is Carol's son, but we don't know that Meryl's the sister or Elvira's the grandmother yet. I suppose in this bit, because we got a bit of dialogue coming up for Carol here, when she responds to Meryl, she could be something like, "Stop this, sister," or something that sounds natural. Like she could call her sister, or... Does anybody say that to their sister? Sister. Stop this, sister. I wouldn't say that to my sister. I'd call her by her name. But it's wondering how to just establish them as an actual family, because the hero wouldn't know there was a family, so unless we had showed that how they're mentioned that they're related. Yo, sis, stop. Oh yeah, that sis is definitely Oto, not sister. I've never heard anyone go call their sister, but sis, yes, for sure. Dot dot dot, one period or an exclamation mark. Carol is one to use the exclamation marks because she's feisty, but she's generally calm with her family, but still we don't want her to be too out of character. Stop it or drop it? Drop it, sis. Something of that, a dialogue, a line like that. Could be a few. It depends what's the best. Cut that out, sis, and start frightening my son. That's also good, actually. If we can just show their character, and with every single dialogue box line, like give every single dialogue box a purpose that furthers their character development or the lore somehow, then I think that's a really good way to approach it, because I'm not a fan of filler dialogue. So yeah, if we can, and it shows that example, Zexy and Met shows that she's protective. Well, Met shows that she's protective of Oliver, and Zexy shows that she wants to break up quarrels. So I guess it's like, which one do we think's the most appropriate for Carol? What do we want to emphasise on more? And if we want to go for her being protective of Oliver, we might want to move it here, actually, by Oliver's scared face, and then have Alvira's dialogues after that. But if we want to go for the route where she's like, you don't always need to be arguing with Mom, we can have it here. But she's also arguing with Woody as well. But I like the Mom one because it also introduced, well, Grandma. Alvira's the grandma. It also introduces that Alvira's the grand, so it's quite a clever way of doing that. I think we can have both, you know. I think we can have the grandma line. You don't always have to be arguing with grandma, and we can also have her pop in here and say what Met suggested. We'll just have to move everything across. So and we don't have to call her sis again in this one either, because we did it in the other one. But we can bring up the grandma thing. Okay, so We've got 2 extra Carol bits, which I am totally fine with keep adding those from Carol. Just keeps her in the conversation. She's the MVP at the end of the day, so we want her to be involved. So we've got a breaking up the argument here. We've also got introduced that Elvira is the grandma and that Meryl's the sister. So that's really cool. We know Oliver's the son. We know Elvira's the grandma. We don't know Hank's the granddad yet, but we can bring that in here maybe. Maybe even Oliver can call him, well, Oliver is the great granddaddy to Oliver, isn't he? Or he could call him grandson. Or we want to be careful though that we're not showing that how they're related. We want it to sound as natural as possible. So we don't want to get too repetitive by calling them by how they're related. But yeah, we can add 3 for Carol. A roundabout way to reference the familial connection outside of their dialogue, like drop it and then someone else could be like, don't you talk to your sister like that, or something, I don't know the story. Yeah, that's another way as well. Serious. For sure. So we could have gone for that route if Meryl said something mean to Carol. Elvira could have said that. Then don't you talk to your sister. That could have worked, but I think that we're probably putting the quarrel to a stop as soon as possible. And that definitely works, I think, as well. But thank you so much for feedback. Just the Hank bit, so maybe we can be more clever with something like that, with introducing him as the granddad. I mean, maybe it'd just be obvious he's the granddad, but I still think we should establish it. Since we already know Oliver's son, we could just use this to show the relationship between Elvira and the rest. A scared Oliver goes up to Hank and asks Grandpa, do daddies really eat their kids? Is a grandpapa a great granddad? And then Hank comforts him and launches into the story. I guess Hank could call Vera by pet name since they're a couple. Oh, that's also a good idea, Met. Which I like, because we've already referred to Elvira's grandma. So if we start mentioning granddad as well, it might feel a bit forced that we're trying to establish it then. So I'm definitely more fond of it being natural. Maybe that's a smart way to do it. And as for, I don't know what you guys think, but I still like this dialogue with Carol, even though we've already established him being the son. Because, well, it establishes Meryl as the sister. And although we could have done that here, we could have put stop it sis here, we could easily do that there. I do look like that she's protective of, she shows she's protective of Oliver. She doesn't just let her do it. I feel like without that, it might look like Carol don't care. So, and it's in Carol's personality to stand up for herself. She's a defensive and hostile person at heart. So I couldn't see her just letting something like that just pass. So yeah. Now, what were we going to have? We was going to have Carol be like, ugh, fine. I feel like having something from her. We don't have to. I mean, if we feel it feels a bit jarring with her speech being there, we can always cut it. But I could imagine her responding like that to the hero and then skipping and going to the hijacking bit immediately after that. So, yeah. A scared Oliver goes up to Hank and asks Gretel, oh, already read that bit. What would a pet name for a barrel be? My sweet flower pot. LOL, that's really cute. Let's do that. Kick her in the nose. Hi, Siggity, how are you doing? Yeah, so we got to get that in somewhere as well. Yeah, maybe I've got an idea. I don't know what you guys think about this, but Hank's going to be super nice here. He's going to be like, we're not going to write his dialogue just yet because we're running out of time today, but so that's going to really just sum up what Hank's dialogue box is going to be about, and then I feel it would be the perfect time for Elvira to be proud of him and be like, that's my sweet flower pot, and she can have a much softer facial expression as well, and it would establish that they're a couple in a natural way and that they're fond of each other, I guess. Happy looked up face. Yeah, something that just shows a affection and admiration, I guess, for his knowledgeable wisdom. What do you guys think about something like that? Feel free to expand on it, and any thoughts at all. I'm great, by the way. Frick's my 3D printer. Glad to hear it, Sig. It's great to see you, by the way. I hope life's treating you well. Legmark, how are you doing, Legmark? You need to have an NPC in the game who, if you talk to them before you meet Carol, they say, there's a lady in Carol's hometown I think you get on with. She's a barrel of laughs. So, by the way, I'm going to copy and paste that, Legmark, because I always make notes of things like this. You know, when the time comes when you like get writer's block and you're like, oh my god, what was that thing that was suggested? And that would suck if you forget. So it's always good to keep a note of all these little things you come up with. It's helped us a whole bunch with this particular scene. I'm saving things you guys have said in previous weeks. Hope you're doing well, Legmark. And thank you, Zanuck, for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Ban Legmark for puns. So what do you guys think of that? We're going to be finishing up very soon. I've gone over time again. That's been a habit lately because we get real into this. But this is basically how it's going. There's a few little things, the dialogue box we haven't finished yet, but we know what's going to happen. It's just writing the right dialogue for it. And as soon as Elvira said that line, well, Oliver could say something as well. Actually, we got to make sure that Elvira's referring to Hank and not Oliver. We don't want to confuse the player, so... I was going to put an Oliver dialogue box in between the two, but it would have made it look like Elvira was saying that about Oliver otherwise. But I did want Oliver to say something to his granddad. What we could always do it so Hank has two dialogue boxes and sandwiching Oliver. We could do that as well. But we just need to make it clear that Elvira's saying that about Hank. I'm going to put here Oliver just to remind myself that we might do a sandwich thing in this conversation. But we'll see. And then I suppose it's a good point here when the hero's like, what does anything have to do with Rose? Oh, why have I put that? Why does this have to do anything with Rose? That's it. Because it's like the ideal conversation ender for the hero starting to get impatient, because it's like, what the hell is all this? What's this love story with two old people? So yeah, that I feel is appropriate. Yes, if I wrote down every cool idea that ever come to me instead of just assuming I'd remember it, I'd have a career as a television writer by now. Yeah, it's a trick. Always write things down. It's the perfect way. That pun was riveting. Is Oliver a barrel of olives? He's a barrel of cookies. He's got cookies in him, but somebody did say, I'm not going to deny it, somebody did suggest he was a jar of olives in a previous life. That's always a possibility too. But the real reason with Oliver having the name he does is because his previous owner was called Oliver. He's a cookie jar with a red little ribbon round him that's going to have Oliver name : Oliver on it to show that the cookies belong to this dude called Oliver. Whoever Oliver is a mystery. But that's the real reason. But I do like the olive pun. But Rose, I have to head out myself. I'll see you tomorrow, fan, and around Discord. Have a good dinner. Take care, Zexy. And I will be putting this updated dialogue tree into the Discord in dialogue section. So, also, I'm going to remind you all, we got a poll. So we got a few new folks that have just popped in and today, I see. So make sure you get voting on that poll. I see that we're getting some votes here, which is awesome to see. But the poll is basically just a name poll. Meryl, the barrel that wears the pink bikini bra, she's got a bad boyfriend. He's an oil drum. He's very bad. He gets into trouble a lot. So we just thinking, what's the best bad boy name? So vote for your favourite, guys, and that'd be fantastic. I'll put the link up here in chat. If you're not in the Discord, you will have to join to vote. We do a lot of polls very often, so it's worth it, and you get to get involved in conversations in between stream. So I will be posting in the dialogue discussion what we've got so far. I'll put a screenshot of our dialogue tree up later on today. And we will carry on with this tomorrow. We've done quite well. We've got the dialogue. We got to just fill in a few little bits that we were unsure about, and then tomorrow we'll continue with this. We'll expand on the conversation, and all going well, we might begin the hijacking scene. But the hijacking scene, it won't be as heavy with dialogue. The hijacking scene is more going to describe the scene, what's going to happen in the scene, and actual cutscene rather than dialogue. Because I doubt there's going to be much dialogue going on in that particular bit. There'll be bits, but not as much as this. And then we can put a close to our flashback, hopefully, all going well tomorrow, because tomorrow's the last stream of the week, and it'd be really cool if we can get this flashback done. But if we don't, we will just finalise it 100% on at the start of next week. But I would really love to start some cutscene work next week, so that would be awesome. And we're doing really well on this one as well. That's almost done, and all we have then is scene C to work on, which we've got a list here. Cutscene C is going to be after the flashback, and once we've done cutscene A, B and C, I think we'll be ready to do some scene work then. So that's the goal. So I've had a good stream, guys. It's been a blast. So get voting on that poll, and I'll again spam you guys with it. Thank you for the votes. I see one of them is you guys taking a liking to one of those in particular. So thank you very much for the votes. And thank you, Rex. Thank you for hanging out. It's lovely to see you. Hope you've had a good day at work. And I will be saying my goodbyes. It is 6:15. What the hell, guys? I never stream this long, and I'm gonna have to rush off. I do like to do hosts and raids if I can, but it's been hard this week because I've been finishing stream a lot later, and I'm in a massive rush. But if we can finish a few minutes before 6 from this point on, then we'll get a chance to send you guys over to another streamer. So thank you for hanging out, everybody. Thank you as always. Andy K, Gretchstar, thank you guys. Take care. I'm so sorry for being abrupt now, but I will have to go. All the best, folks. I appreciate you all. Thanks for hanging out.